All right, so you're thinking about diving into the housing market this fall. We're breaking down Buying a Home Fall 2024 by Don Jacks to see if now's the right time for you.
It's a great resource to have by your side, that's for sure, packed with tons of useful advice.
Seriously, this guide is a gold mine, especially with all the craziness we've seen in the market recently.
It's been a wild ride.
Bidding wars, sky high prices enough to make anyone want to just sit on the sidelines, right?
Right, but here's the thing. This fall might actually be a really good time to jump in.
Okay, so tell me more about that because the guide actually highlights three reasons why this fall is looking pretty darn good for buyers.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the first one is key, because it's all about inventory. You've got more options now than we've seen in a while.
More homes for sale music to a buyer's ears. Less competition, more room to breathe, more power to negotiate.
Exactly, though of course it always helps to keep things in perspective. The guide mentions a 36.6% year-over-year increase in inventory.
Which on the surface sounds amazing, right?
It is positive,
Yeah.
but we're still about 28.7% below those pre-pandemic levels.
So not quite back to normal, however you define that, but definitely moving in the right direction.
Exactly.
Okay, so more inventory is a major plus. But reason number two for optimism this fall is new construction. A third of the homes on the market right now are newly built, which is a pretty big deal.
It's huge, and builders are really shifting gears, which is exciting. We're seeing more focus on smaller, more affordable homes.
Yes, no more of those massive McMansions that nobody can afford. And this ties in perfectly with the third reason why this fall might be your time to buy. Home price growth is finally starting to chill out. Remember that graph in the guide?
Absolutely, it's a clear sign that those crazy price hikes are calming down.
No more stratospheric bidding wars. And this kind of goes back to what Marco Santarelli said, the founder of Norada Real Estate Investments.
Yeah.
He's quoted in here saying, "This moderation is mostly due to supply and demand. Prices aren't rising as fast. It's all about finding that balance."
Exactly, and that's what we're seeing happening right now.
So things are looking up for buyers, but I know what some of you might be thinking. Should I wait a bit longer? Will there be even better deals in a few months?
It's tempting to try to time the market perfectly, but it's not as easy as it sounds.
It's kind of like trying to predict the weather 6 months out.
Exactly. And one thing this guide really emphasizes is that mortgage rate projections are always in flux. Some folks who are sitting on the fence waiting for those rates to drop might be wishing they hadn't.
Especially with prices stabilizing now, it's definitely a gamble. And that reminds me of that point in the guide about time in the market versus timing the market.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a crucial concept for buyers to understand.
The guide uses a $400,000 home as an example. If you look at those home price expectation survey
Right,
projections.
the ones we highlighted earlier.
Exactly. That house could gain over $83,000 in equity by 2029. That's a pretty sweet return. I know I wouldn't want to miss out on that kind of growth.
You'd be kicking yourself.
Right.
It's a powerful illustration of how time in the market can really work in your favor. And speaking of finances, maybe we should touch on the renting versus buying dilemma in this changing market.
Because those mortgage rates, let's be honest, they can seem a little intimidating.
Right. But we can't let those numbers scare us away from the bigger picture. This guide does a great job of highlighting the long-term benefits of owning a home.
Absolutely. It's not just about having a roof over your head. It's about building wealth over time.
Exactly. And the guide makes two super compelling arguments in favor of buying. First, that graph showing the increase in rent prices over the last 60 years. Wow.
It's mind-boggling. When I think about what I was paying in rent a few years ago compared to now, it's just going to keep climbing, most likely. And the second point the guide drives home is the power of building equity. We touched on it briefly earlier, but it's worth emphasizing again.
Because it's such a huge advantage of homeownership. As your home value increases, you're building that financial cushion, which is something you just don't get with renting.
It gives you options. And, I love how Dr. Jessica Lautz from the National Association of Realtors frames it. If a home buyer is financially stable, able to manage those monthly mortgage costs and, handle those household maintenance expenses, then it really makes sense to purchase a home.
It's about finding that balance between the monthly costs and those long-term gains. Plus, let's not forget the peace of mind that comes with owning your own place. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, talked about why now might be a good time to buy. But I also know that actually taking that leap from thinking about buying to actually doing it, well, It can feel kind of overwhelming.
It's a big decision.
Huge. Luckily, though, buying a home fall 2024, it's full of advice on how to navigate the process and avoid some of those common mistakes.
Those pitfalls that can really trip you up.
Exactly. And I know you flagged a big one that don't even think about house hunting until you've got that pre-approval for a mortgage lockdown.
It's non-negotiable. I mean, would you go on a shopping spree without knowing your budget?
Ouch, not unless I wanted a serious case of buyer's remorse later on.
Exactly. Pre-approval lets you shop with confidence, know what you can afford, shows those sellers you're serious.
Love it. Know your numbers, avoid heartache later. Okay, another mistake people make, and the guide talks about this too, is trying to navigate this whole home buying journey on their own, like no real estate agent, just going it alone.
That's a tough one, especially in this market. It's like trying to climb a mountain without a guide.
And probably a lot less scenic. This guide really stresses how crucial it is to have that expert in your corner, that local real estate agent who knows their stuff.
Think of them as your real estate warriors fighting to get you the best deal possible.
Yes, protecting you from those real estate dragons, right? You had that section of the guide bookmarked where it lists like the top 5 reasons why having an agent is non-negotiable.
Yeah, it's all about their expertise, knowing the local market, those killer negotiation skills. Plus, let's be honest, they're pros at deciphering all that legal jargon that comes with buying a house.
Oh, for sure. Nobody wants to end up with a home that comes with a side of unexpected legal drama. I think Don Jaggs put it perfectly in the guide. He said, a real estate agent can give you professional legal guidance, market expertise, and support, which will save you time, money, and stress.
And who couldn't use a little less stress in their lives?
Seriously. So, bottom line for everyone listening out there is this. The market, it's always changing, but that doesn't mean it's not the right time to buy. As Don Jack says, instead of stressing over IVF, now's the time, focus on what needs to happen for you to feel ready.
It's about taking control.
Exactly. Get pre-approved, find yourself a fantastic real estate agent, and start taking those steps toward owning your dream home. And hey, if you need a little help along the way, you know where to find us. We're always here to break it all down and make it a little less scary. Until next time, happy house hunting.